Welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson, and we've got another brand new show for you this week. We're going to take you out on a couple of different adventures, showing you some of the things we can be doing in our great state this time of year, including hunting after some of those delectable morel mushrooms. There's a lot of them out there. It was a great year for morels, so we'll take a look at that, and we will hit the big water.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We were able to get out on the big water, and it was really our first big water fishing trip of the year. We had 2 boats full of folks, and we were out of the port of South Haven, kind of like a friendly competition going back and forth between the 2 boats. It was a lot of fun, and you know what? We even found a few fish. So lots of good stuff on this week's show, so you stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Meijer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meijer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meijer. By Zimmer Roofing and Construction in Port Huron, featuring Duralast roofing systems made in Michigan. Zimmer Roofing and Construction provides installation, maintenance, service, and repair, serving commercial and residential clients on the web at zimmerroofing.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
A week or so back, we had the chance to hit the water and try our hand at some spring fishing out of the port of South Haven. Joining us today were our friends from Greenstone Farm Credit and the Michigan Propane Gas Association for a fun day of friendly competition. What's the plan of attack this morning?
Well, we're going to set up for some kings. The kings just showed up literally on Monday. We're getting a really cool start. You know, we tried to push you back later in the season when we planned this about 2 months ago because the winter was still holding on. And boy, has it been a cold start to the spring. So we had ice still floating around 3 weeks ago. We've been catching a lot of fish. We had 24 limits up to Monday. So we've caught a lot of fish. We had coho early in the spring. We were catching limits of 25 to 30 coho per trip early in the spring. Then the weather kind of switched those around and we started hitting on our lake trout. They showed up in full force this spring. And they were very hungry coming out of winter. So then we continued our limit streak with lake trout, and now the kings have just gotten here. So we're kind of mixed bag. You'll see a little bit of everything today. There's a few coho mixed in there. There's some big lake trout and some really nice kings. The kings that are showing up this spring are pretty healthy considering a stressful winter. Okay. They're showing up between 11 and about 15 pounds. Hopefully we'll show you a couple of those 15 pounders.
There it is, guys. First one.
What time is it? The boat I was on started hitting fish pretty much right away. We had a few fish in the boat before the guys on Jordan's boat even had a fish, which of course we were rubbing in at every chance that we got.
Well, what do you think, young fella?
This is awesome. Hardly been out here and already catching them.
There's your fish right on the surface.
We're running a little bit of everything. I mean, because we're in transition. We just had all the trout and we're just getting the kings. So we're still fishing for some trout and we're getting a mixed bag. We've got some trout and kings already this morning. We've got some lead cores on the outside. Then we've running some copper on the inside on both sides. We're running some spinning glows and dodgers on the corner riggers. We're keeping them tight on the bottom. and then we're suspending our center, and then we got our divers out. So,
and for somebody that's not familiar with, what do the different setups kind of do?
Yeah, well, the copper gets us down a little faster without, you know, putting out as much line. So, and that's just, you know, that gets it down deep. So those are our deeper lines. And then the lead cord gets it back out away from the boat and the boards, and it's a little more stealthy, you know, and it also moves a little bit different in the water column. And then with our Dodgers, it's a flasher in front of what we run right now is a spinning glow, and that's on the bottom for the trout. And we're running them right off our corner riggers, and we're keeping them right tight to the bottom.
There we go.
Nice job, young man.
Thank you.
So we were into the fish with a few in the box, as Jordan's boat were starting to find some fish as well. A few hours into the trip and they had their first fish. This early season fishing can be great, but it can be a little finicky.
Beautiful day on Lake Michigan fishing. Biggest fish on the boat so far. I got him.
Coming your way, Chef. Watch it. He's coming your way. Slide right over here. Keep on reeling. Keep on reeling. Lift like up. That. Lift up. Lift up. And boat.
One down. First one's the hardest one. Right. All right. What kind is it?
The king salmon.
King salmon.
We call that a keeper.
Keeper. He's a griller. Cool day on Lake Michigan.
Oh, we just got our first fish in the boat and on our out down. Actually had a couple rips on our boards too on our coppers. Fish are having a hard time hooking up for us today, but managed to get one in the boat, so we're doing all right, and hopefully we'll get more.
So with the guys getting fish now on both boats, the competition was starting to heat up. And for a few of these guys, this was their first time fishing Lake Michigan.
Right there, king, right there, king. There's a nice one. Big king. Big king.
Check that drag.
How's that drag, guys?
We're good. He's going. Here, stop reeling real quick.
Color on that left.
Give him one crank. Keep on reeling. Good fish. Nice lake trout. He's already off.
It is always interesting to pick the brains of the guys that fish the big water every day. And I had Jim talk a little bit about the hot bait of late.
Well, right now we've got the coyote spoon's been going pretty decent. That's a super slim UV coyote, and we've got we got a blue-green Pro King that's been going a couple times with kings on the 140 copper. And then the Dodgers with the spinning glows have been getting our trout. So so far we've got a couple spoons that are hot, and hopefully they continue on. So.
Well, how did he fight there?
Oh man, I'm tired. Party for beer. All right, thank you.
Yep, throw them in the box.
Jim,
there.
you're next, buddy. Yeah, I betcha.
So Jim and Chad were both finding fish now, and each guy on the boat was getting a chance at a nice mixed bag of both Lakers and Kings.
Big king, another big king.
Come on,
George, get on it, get on it.
Turn it, man. There you go.
All the way back, all the way back.
He's pretty tired by now. He had a long ways in. Nice.
That's bad.
Well, over on Jordan's propane boat, the doubles were catching them up very quickly on the number of fish in the box. I think one of my favorite things about big water fishing is when things get fast and furious. And when the fishing is good and when you have a few fish on, there is always constant dancing at the back of the boat to try and have as few of tangles as possible. Even though the captain does make most of the fishing decisions on a trip like this, getting to reel in some great tasting fish and battle them most of the morning makes this kind of a trip a lot of fun. And doing that while catching up with friends makes it even better.
This is a big one here. It's got to be the biggest one of the day. It's pulling me forward. I got him though. He's coming in.
You need the belt?
It started off a little slow for us. My brother, Captain Jim, he was whacking them pretty good right off the get-go, trying to make us look bad. But then they've slowed down a little bit now, and we've come back. We've had 3 doubles in a row that helped us out, and caught a couple more. We got a couple lake trout in the box and some king salmon, and fishing was basically from 70 to 80 when we first started, and that's where he was catching most of his fish and we were catching ours. But then we just moved out just a little bit further out into 80, and then they started to pop out there. So as the day progresses, it looks like the fish are moving out a little bit. Sometimes this is the exact opposite. You think they always want to move out as the day progresses, but there are days where it does the exact opposite and actually move in. So you always got to pay attention to what's happening. If they're hitting further out, then just go out. If they're hitting closer, then go in. But we've been fishing mostly top water, from basically 40 to the surface, but the fish in the last couple of days have actually moved down a little bit. So now we're starting to target them more with our 150 coppers and our 200 coppers, as opposed to say a 50 or 100 foot of copper.
Hey, I think we're up to 7. We got to be close. We're making our move right now. They slowed down. We got a few doubles and a single, so we're right in the ball game now.
Now, what was going to happen next was one of the more unique things that has ever happened while taping a fishing segment here on Michigan Out of Doors.
That's what's a little bit. Yeah,
Dang it.
Holy cow.
And after this first fish had broke off, we did net the second fish and really never gave the first fish much of a thought. However, the guys on the other boat, well, they were about to have a run-in with that very same fish.
This is what it's all about right here.
Now, is there a reason why you're catching bigger fish than everybody?
Well, I have a technique that's unique. I just have a sense for these things. I hope there's some on the end of this, because I'm getting tired here, I can tell you that.
So what happened was Chad's boat had actually hooked the copper line that had broke off of our boat, and at this point they didn't even realize that there was still a fish on the line.
We're not out.
Oh, this is a big one. Oh, it's big one.
Now, what was that technique you were talking about? Special technique.
Somehow I've been messed with.
Okay, here's your...
Because that doesn't seem right.
Biggest one of the day.
Biggest one of the day.
There's a fish on there.
Hold on, we're not over yet.
Grab it.
I'm still on it.
There you go.
Hand over hand.
Hand over hand. Yep. Grab the net. You can come right on back here, right to this back corner. Nope.
Oh, not me?
Yep. Just perfect. That is nice king.
Oh, I gotta get. See my technique?
Get over. Come on. Come on. Get it in.
Oh! We got him. I told you I had a technique. Doesn't matter how you get them, it's just getting them in the boat.
So this is what happened. We're out here, we're just trolling around. Next thing we know, we see one of our coppers, one of our longer coppers go. So we're reeling in the fish, and the customer says, ooh, it's a big fish, and we were dragging it in, and then we seen that it was connected to one of our other coppers. So we just assumed that it picked up one of the other coppers on the way in. So we get it untangled off our line, and we start dragging in the copper, and there's a fish on it. So we give it back to the customer, and he drags it in as a 12-pound king salmon. Well, it just happened to be the same king salmon that my brother just broke off about 15 minutes before that. So we ended up getting his fish. Thanks.
Well, Chad and Jim grew up together in a family that loves to fish, and recently Jim moved back to South Haven to fish with his brother.
I got a little guy running around now, so I got a 14-month-old boy, so it's nice to get closer to home. So that was the main movement. I grew up around the South Haven area, as a lot of people know. So I just wanted to get closer to my family and get back down here where I grew up. So and the tourist tourist activity in the southern part of Michigan has been a little bit better than northern Michigan. So we've been doing pretty well. Chad's been had a pretty good existing clientele down here for 7 years. And with the clientele that I had, a lot of them came down and joined me, and then some new ones are starting to show up with a lot of the people that I know from town from over the years. So it's working out pretty good.
Well, it was time to pull the plug and head for shore. My boat got the first fish, and Jordan's boat had the most fish, and since we weren't going to be weighing each individual fish, well, we called it a draw. But you know, I had a feeling I was going to be buying lunch any way you looked at it. Thanks to all the guys that made today so much fun, and for the support throughout the years. And thanks to Jim and Chad for showing us some good fishing out of South Haven. There is still lots of good fishing to be had this year on the big water, so get out and enjoy some of it here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, when it comes to mushroom hunting here in Michigan, a lot of people think about southern Michigan or central Michigan as being the best spots. Well, there's a lot of good mushroom hunting in northern Michigan as well. And then for our next story in this week's show, I was able to tag along with 4 generations of mushroom hunters in the Atlanta area.
We're out here, we're in Canada Creek Ranch in Montmorency County, Michigan. I'm out here with, I got an uncle, 2 uncles, an aunt, my mom and dad, my wife, and 3 kids, so grandpa and grandma, so 4 generations of canines mushroom picking, looking for black morels right now. We got a couple, and the weather's not terrific. It's 30 degrees when we woke up this morning. We got a little snow coming down, but hopefully we can find a couple.
With this year's winter finally behind us, many of the springtime activities are just getting underway, especially in northern Michigan. For mushroom hunters, things appear to be a few weeks behind schedule, but the long winter, if anything, seems to have made for better mushroom hunting.
I'll get one too.
This was a record-setting winter. We've had more snow up here in northern Michigan than we've had in 20, 30, 40 years. I don't know the exact amount, but everything I read and all the predictions was supposed to be a great morel season because all the amount of snow and the moisture in the soil. Last week we had a couple days where temperatures were up around 65, 70 degrees. Unfortunately, the last 4 or 5 days, we haven't got highs around 40 and nighttime lows are 30. We had frost on the vehicles this morning when we got up, which makes it a little bit challenging. But we're still able to get out here and pick, and really today is more about family than actually picking mushrooms. Get out here with 4 generations and be able to enjoy the outdoors and watch my grandpa be able to pick with my kids and be able to spend it with my mom and dad and uncles and aunt. The mushrooms are just the added bonus to actually coming out today.
See it right there?
For many mushroom hunters, it's more about spending time in the woods with friends and family than anything else. But that being said, there's also something else that mushroom hunters love about finding morels.
I officially don't consider it spring until I get a meal of morel mushrooms. My favorite way to prepare morel mushrooms is I slice them in half, soak them in a little bit of salt water for a little bit, and then rinse them real well, get all the sand and dirt out of them. And then you have them, fry them, I flour them, fry them in a little bit of butter. Springtime, if you can catch a couple fresh trout and have morels with your fresh trout, that's a winner. And a lot of people throw a handful in their scrambled eggs. If you got a nice piece of venison steak backstrap left over from the fall, you can fry those morels up with a little bit of onions and smother your venison steak with it, and there's nothing better.
Morel mushrooms truly are a delicacy and are great in or on just about anything. But if you're not a big fan of actually eating the mushrooms, there's other reasons why you may want to give mushroom hunting a try.
You get to get out in the woods, you get to go out, you get to walk. Any excuse to be in the woods is a good excuse to be in the woods, especially up here in northern Michigan. I know in the central and lower Michigan, they get a lot of the white morels. Up here, we get a lot of the black morels. But, you get to walk endless miles, countless miles, enjoying the woods. You stumble upon cool stuff. A couple years ago, we found elk shed. I know people find deer sheds out here. You get to see wildlife. We've jumped elk back here while we were picking mushrooms, and you get to see some stuff that you don't typically see from a 2-track or road. And you're only going to see that by getting in the woods and looking for those mushrooms. I would encourage everybody to take a GPS or some sort of compass, because when you're walking around staring at your feet for a couple of hours, or not at your feet but out in front of you, you can get turned around in some of these hills back here, and GPSs can be your best friend back here. But you get to explore the woods and go to some places that you typically wouldn't see until you get off the 2-track.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jack.
Good job, buddy.
All right, give it to Daddy.
Dad, there's a lot in your bag.
In '46, I was 10 years old, and my dad, I went mushroom with him right up until in the 60s. And then I got married in 55. And we had 8 children. And all my kids used to go mushroom with me when they got big enough. And when they started approaching where they could drive, they were enticed to go mushroom with me because I would let them drive the back roads. That was way back before we had any driver's training. And so they all learned to drive coming back from the mushroom woods. And then I was fortunate enough to see my kids raise their families, and Jake and his brothers, and was able to go mushroom hunting with them, and I am now 78 years old, and not only get to see my grandkids, but I've got to see my little great-grandchildren here today going mushrooming, and it's been a great time.
My grandpa, he'd been picking mushrooms longer than most mushroom pickers have been alive. And he got that started, and he got my dad excited about it. And when my dad bought into Canada Creek Ranch, he started scouting and finding mushroom spots, and he got us excited about it as kids. And you know, when we were kids, I don't know how much mushroom picking we actually did. We did more pushing down dead trees and running around in the woods. But that just being out in the woods with my dad and my grandpa, and then now I've got, my son's gonna be 5 next week, and I have my other son is 3 years old, and my daughter's 1. You know, they planted that seed in us that is gonna, you know, hopefully last a lifetime. My boys love it, and we pick the mushrooms, and it's a great way after a long, cold winter to get out and enjoy the woods and time with family.
Mushroom hunting is a great way to spend time in the woods, and it's nice to see a family carrying on the tradition of looking for mushrooms. Special thanks to Jake and the entire Knine family for letting me tag along on a great day of mushroom hunting in northern Michigan.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online when you get a chance. You can go to our website at michiganoutofdoorstv.com to check out old episodes, maybe check out a little bit of the history of the show, all sorts of fun stuff happening there, including some wild game recipes. Or you can check us out on our Facebook page at Michigan Out of Doors TV. We're on there letting you know where we are, and all of our viewers are on there as well, letting you know where they are out in our great state this time of year. And speaking of our great state, we've got a lot more fun stuff stuff in store for you over the next few weeks.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Lots of brand new stuff coming over the next several weeks here in Michigan Out of Doors. We have been doing quite a bit of fishing of late. We were recently up in Manistee for the Tight Lines for Troop event. We had some bass fishing that we just recently did, some trout fishing. I'm heading to Fletcher's Pond in a couple of days, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much good stuff happening this time of the year if you're a sportsman here in the state of Michigan. So make sure you get out and enjoy some of the outdoors, and if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by the Department of Natural Resources Fisheries Division, reminding fishermen that they are our first line of defense in stopping aquatic invasive species. To minimize the risk of invasives, it is required by law to properly dispose of live bait after your fishing trip. By doing so, you help protect Michigan's world-class fishery. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. By Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Meijer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meijer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meijer. Closed captioning is brought to you by Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a